Welcome, Star Wars fans. Here we talk about all things Star Wars with rumors, facts, news, and random shenanigans. Get ready and strap into your Millennium Falcon. This is the Force Choke Podcast.
Hello, everyone, and welcome to episode 70 of the Force Choke Podcast. My name's Lewis. Wait, over there we got...
This is Tim.
Tim?
T.O. I'm assuming it says T.O. down there.
And then over there we got...
I don't think people like T.O., did they? Oh, I'm Micah.
So I got Tim and Micah here with me for episode 70. We're missing Sarah. She's feeling a little bit under the weather, so hopefully she'll get better and be with us on the next podcast. Just want to say thank you to everybody who's reached out to us recently to do sticker swaps. We're going to be talking a little bit more about that later. I did a couple of lives. I guess we can start off with that, right? So there's a group or a podcast called, and I don't know if you can see it right back here, called Big T and Little T. They have a Star Wars podcast as well. I think right now they're talking about the Resistance animated series on their podcast. So if you're interested in that, you can give them a follow. Big T is also part of the 501st. He sent us one of his trading cards. So there he is right there. So
TK23227.
There you go.
Return to your post.
He also sent us some other trading cards from the Rebel Legion.
That's awesome.
So that's really neat. Some other stickers and some buttons and stuff like that of that nature. Also, we got a really great note from she goes by Random Tapeworm on Instagram. Thanks so much for offering to do a sticker swap. These are from my talented friend Camille. I hope you enjoy them as much as I do. So that was really nice. Sent us a nice little grouping of stickers here. You can see some of the droids there. I really liked this one. It says Giz Nerd. I don't know if you can see that.
Yeah, that's pretty cool.
And then I know Michael will like this one.
Yes.
So maybe
Bring
you can.
It on.
Yeah, I'll take that one to work so you can. And there's a little Ray one right there if you can see that. All right. And one of the other stickers that Random Tapeworm sent us, it's this one right here. I don't know if you can see it. It's kind of far away and in the background. But it says, May the 4th be with you. So that's a May the 4th sticker right there. So we put her up there along with some of our other sticker swaps. So if you'd like to sticker swap with the Force Choke Podcast, you don't have to be a podcast, but we'll send you some of our stickers as well. Some of our logo stickers, our magnetic business card right there. Also, some of my original artwork. We'll send you some of that right there as well. If you're on YouTube, you can check that out. I would say this is, let's say, a first set of 10 of my Star Wars art prints. I have another 10 different art prints, Star Wars art prints that I'm having made up right now. And I think they should be ready today. So maybe you can, get you one of those art prints as well. I also wanted to answer a question real quick. When I did a live, there was somebody who came on live and was asking a whole bunch of questions. His name is Andre Thomas, and he asked me, would I rather be a Jedi or a Sith? And I think we've mentioned this, had that question before. I actually picked Bounty Hunter, right? So he spurred off. Andre Thomas says, well, what would your Bounty Hunter name be? And I was like, oh, well, shoot, I don't know, So I told him, I promised him that I talk about or think it through and that I would answer his question on episode 70. So Andre Thomas, I would want to be a bounty hunter. And I came up with the name Isel Rera. ISEL, and then separate with the apostrophe and then R-E-R-A, Isel Rera. And that's a combination of my first, middle, and last name, taking some letters out, and I came up with that name. So Isel Rera would be my bounty hunter name. So there you go, Andre Thomas, answering your question there. Also, we have our Force Stroke podcast won a prize from Brian Snuffer. He's actually a Lucasfilm official artist, worked on The Mandalorian, and he sent us out a very nice piece of his Star Wars art. So we also sent him a little package as well, just to say thank you for picking us as the winners. You know what I mean? So also we got with the Corpus Christi Cotton Candy Company, and I'm gonna go visit them today and see if I can get a little bit more information. We might be able to do like a what do you call it, like a code to get a certain percentage off of their confections. Yeah, promotional code. So I'm going to talk with them today. Also get some of their treats. They're a local Corpus Christi company, and we'd like to, the Force Choke podcast really likes to endorse and help our community in that way and pushing forward new and prosperous businesses. So see if we can become part of, helping that business grow, the Corpus Christi Cotton Candy Company. So we'll get some more information out on that. But with all that being said, why don't we get into Mandalorian, the gallery, and it's called technology, right? So in this episode, talking about the Mandalorian and all the aspects of the technological advances that they used and incorporated in the Mandalorian. So, Micah, you want to kick it off a little bit and tell us what you think a little bit about this episode?
It was pretty colors.
Lots of colors, man.
Man, I wish I could comment. Tim got to it before me. I mean, that's
well. First off, why don't I ask you what stood out to you?
That cost millions of dollars to make. Lots of time and effort was put together.
They were really, really pretty colors. I mean, fuck, what do you want me to say? No, it was pretty cool. Being that, I think we kind of mentioned it in the previous episode that it always seems like Star Wars in themselves is always pushing the boundary. They're having to essentially, we're talking about technology, they're having to create stuff to make it work, to show what they want to show. And I mean, even in the episode, you get to see Lucas on set. They're talking to George Lucas, and they essentially, for the Mandalorian, I don't know the name of it exactly, but they essentially created something that he envisioned many, many years ago that he wanted to even have at, I think they said at his ranch, at the Skywalker Ranch, and just seeing him on set talk about it, like, yeah, I was, just them pushing the bounds of technology again. Like how they had a crazy, like, it seemed they had like a super crazy detailed background, but then they still had like a floating green screen, so they could do other like digital animations to it and add on to really what was going on that would help kind of actors almost get more in place, other than just simply being in a green room, like with green walls. Like you'd actually see it, and I would figure that would help the actors more to kind of understand what they were doing, to who they're interacting with as such. But I mean, just that's my biggest takeaway from the episode in itself is, again, just seeing Star Wars having to figure things out that weren't even made before shooting this, to really show what they wanted to show. So, and pretty colors.
Pretty colors.
$1 million pretty colors.
Well, I'll tell you what. One of the things that stuck out to me was what you're talking about specifically. They were calling it that environment. They were calling it the volume, right? Is what it's called, where it's these LED panels putting on a background of which they're actually filming that. They're not doctoring it very much at all, if at all, you know. And so one of the things that stuck out to me about the volume was uh, Bryce, one of the directors, Bryce Howard. She was like, she remembered that when she was younger and she was on set, you know, not in the movie, but on one of the Star Wars films, I believe, or it could have been Indiana Jones. I don't remember, one of the two. And she said that she remembers George Lucas saying, you know, one of these days we're going to be able to film everything in somebody's garage.
Yeah.
And then she said when she was in the volume, she just kind of had that epiphany or flashback of, oh my God, if we had this in somebody's garage, we could make a movie. You know what I mean? And so that kind of was like, you know, I thought that was really, really the perspective on that, you know what I mean, of what George was thinking about. And he was so far ahead of his time, you know, technology wise, you know, pushing the boundaries, that I thought that was very impressive. You know, now we're sitting 2020, and Bryce Dallas Howard is like, oh my God, George was talking about this decades ago. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So I thought that was very impressive. How about you, Tim? What stood out for you?
Uh, uh, I don't know. It's just like uh, I was kind of impressed with the technology, how it evolved from what a couple movies that John Favreau had worked on, so it made sense for him to work on Mandalorian,
Yeah,
right?
mostly it
With
was
Jungle Book,
the
and
Jungle Book.
then Jungle Book is when they first kind of started with the
Yes,
beginnings of that technology,
I know he
and
mentioned Zathura as well.
The Lion King. Which
Hmm.
one is the third? I don't know what that one is.
It was kind of like the Jungle Book, but in space. Not the Jungle
Uh,
Book. I mean, Jumanji. It was like Jumanji,
Jumanji.
but in space.
Oh, okay. Yeah, no, no. He did that one?
Yes.
Okay. I must have missed that in gallery, but yeah, so those movies were the beginnings of um that type of technology, where you move the camera, the background will move with it and not mess up your picture as they're filming while the props are on the set, which is pretty cool.
Yeah.
Uh,
And yeah, well, they incorporated some virtual reality there to accomplish that. So that was pretty impressive.
oh yeah, and I just think like it's one of those like long term deals where and it works great for Mandalorian because different they can film different so many different locations, and you know Mandalorian's gonna be traveling throughout the galaxy
Yeah.
where I mean they don't have to spend so much money um, to send these actors here and there, have schedule problems, with flight delays, getting people to, because they got to cater food in all these different places too, like for these actors. All
Mm.
that takes money. Just think, like long term, throughout. If they're going to use this, probably that set would probably be used not just for Mandalorian, but many other shows that they might be planning to do for Disney Plus. Um,
Let me ask you, Tim. You saying that? How many people you think are going to be out of the job because of
hmm.
that? Just messing with you, man.
Well, they're gonna have to squeeze those jobs into newer jobs, like working
Into
with,
different jobs, right?
yeah, different type of technologies and stuff. So
Yeah.
uh, just moving a different direction. So yeah, those some of that the camera effects will, people probably be losing their jobs, but then you have uh yeah, I mean more creative with this new technology.
So one of the other things that I was kind of impressed with, you know, this volume, what it's called, you know, was that I think it was Gina Carano said that, you know, when they were going down the lava and the stormtroopers were waiting for her, the Mandalorian, the child, and oh no, I don't think they had the child, right? And IG-11, and they're going down this lava pit, or lava lake, I guess you want to say, or river. Um, Gina said that they weren't moving; they were stationary in this, floating lava boat, and it was the environment of the volume that made it look like they were moving. So she said that she was feeling a little woozy, like she was going to kind of maybe teeter over. She got disoriented because it looked so real, but she was stationary and everything else was moving around her to make it look like they were going down this environment. And she kind of had to take herself out of that and kind of like regroup a little bit because it looked so real. You know what I mean? And I think we've heard also Carl Weathers talking about, man, when you all see this lava river, you're gonna freak out. It looks so cool. And he, to me, I think that's really impressive because they're fooling the eyes of the actors that are actually on set. Usually the actors that are on set, they're kind of like, okay, yeah, we see the magic and the tricks behind it, and they have to, after post-production, put this in and put that in. And with this volume thing, it's even fooling the actors on the set. You know what I mean? I thought that was really impressive.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah. So, another thing, I think I forgot who was talking about it, but it was very difficult for actors to, when they see practicals on the set, and we're going to talk about practicals here in a minute because that's what the next episode is all about. But there were some of the actors that were having, I don't want to say issues, but they really couldn't tell at a certain point where the practicals on the set ended and the volume began. It kind of all meshed together, giving an optical illusion that this environment was totally, all of it was real. So I think that's impressive on how many pixels are in the volume to help create a real life
And start
environment.
walking into the walls.
Yeah,
The fight scenes are running into the volume.
yeah, I'm hoping they make another Willy Wonka where the snozberries taste like snozberries.
You know, how hot do you think it gets in that room with all those LEDs, dude?
Well, LEDs
They
don't, well, that is a lot of LEDs. And the
must
LEDs
be
don't put out
sweating.
too much heat, but
Yeah,
with that amount of them, I don't know. I'm not too sure. Tim, you got to get on that for us, man.
they must have
Get,
some badass AC.
probably right. I would assume so. Yeah. So just yeah, I mean, I'm looking at some of the screenshots right here, and really you can't tell. I mean, and they're not adding anything to some of these scenes, and you really can't tell where the LED begins and the practical environment ends. So that was really really cool. Um, I really like the technology that they used in all of this. I didn't know that that's how they were doing the environment. I mean, did you guys, Micah? Did
No,
did you know that that's how they were
didn't know how
accomplishing this?
that's how they were doing it.
I thought somewhere, and I don't know where I heard it. Like it might have been briefly. Like I know at Celebration they had a video that I don't think they ever end up releasing, and other than like the bootleg videos coming out. But I thought he was talking something about like you saw it briefly, kind of like, oh, this is how we did it. Because kind of like an example, like there was one where you're showing like how they were taking like these digital cameras, like almost on a roller coaster type thing, to take pictures of the Raven Crest and how they're doing it. And in the process of that, I thought briefly they showed something to the effect of that background. Um, that I feel like I heard somewhere. I guess I don't know where, but yeah, it's really intense. Like just how what they're able to do with it, and then how believable it looks even on screen, or even with the final product. Kind of like what you said, like they do little to no altering to it,
Yeah.
and just how well it's put together and how believable it is that oh, that's an actual background. That's not the actual like we're not looking miles off into the desert type thing when they're running around. Like no, that's technically a TV. it's crazy, and I mean, yeah, I guess Hollywood magic, whatever you want to call it, or Lucas magic.
Yeah,
But
absolutely, man. Tim, do you have anything to add to that, man?
No, I just like my mind was just going off into like I remember seeing recently and randomly because of what's going on in the world right now, like these um I mean I don't want to say like these riots, but like a lot of everybody being on lockdown and assuming we're gonna go into this. You're talking about World War III and uh, this thing's getting really bad. Well, I saw this bunker that this that was for sale in Nevada somewhere over there, and this bunker had like the LEDs as walls, or they had something like as their walls, and it would put you in different environments. Like, so if you're down there for months, it's gonna put you in different. Like, I mean, you have the option of putting yourself in different locations, so you don't feel like you're in the same box. But then I just started thinking, well, what if they turned this bunker into the volume? But
And
I mean, it would be the same thing. I mean, the volume is more for filming and stuff, but I'm just starting to think like having your own um illusion of traveling and being in different places by the volume would become like more of a home product than it is a movie product or filming product.
I'm sure there could be a huge therapeutic uh, means to it. Yeah, I mean, like you've seen it in futuristic type movies. It's like,
Mhm.
where do you want to go today? You want to go to the beach? You want to go to the forest? Like, and
Yeah,
that's really interesting, Tim. Yeah, because I mean, just think of that's where the tech is now, and just give it another 10
Ex
years, and
Machina.
how. Oh yeah, well they don't do that in Ex
Yeah,
Machina.
they did
I
that
know, but
Unless
I
you're
love.
talking about making life like robots, you're sick.
in
Oh,
the original Total Recall. They did that as well. Arnold
Uh-huh.
Schwarzenegger is, I think, eating cereal or something in the kitchen, and
Yeah,
it's like a
Total
beautiful
Recall did.
scenery in the background. You know what I mean? And Sharon Stone comes in and like almost like switches a channel, and it changes
Yeah.
it to the news or whatever. You know what I mean? So, I think though that this kind of technology has been kind of probably thought about or floated around. Maybe somebody overheard George Lucas talking about it and incorporated it into their movie. You know what I mean?
yeah.
Inspired them.
Yes, but you know, we can talk about, when we just did about how much it impressed us and how much we're looking forward to season 2 of The Mandalorian. But the also with the technology side of it, you also have to have the practical side of it, which is the other part that we're going to talk about now with The Mandalorian. I think the both of them go hand in hand. Um, it's almost like you need the practical to set limitations on what the technology is going to do in a way. You know what I mean? And one of the people that talked about that was John Favreau. He said we have the CGI baby and we have the practical baby, and we set limitations on this what the CGI baby can do. So if the puppet couldn't do it, we said the CGI baby couldn't
CGI
do it
can't.
either.
Yeah, can't do it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So like the CGI baby, they could have made him dance and do flips like Yoda and all kinds of stuff, but I think it made it feel more real. Them setting those limitations on
Hmm.
their CGI, which I think was brilliant. You know what I mean? Because I think in some aspects when you have technology like that, you're like, let's just go for it. Let's do what we can, what's inside our brain. Let's just take off with it. And sometimes it's not the right move. You know what I mean? I don't know. What do you guys think? Tim, what do you think about that, man?
Well, I should like what's in their brain and go with it. Like that's what Filoni did with his vision of Mandalorian. Like you saw it at the end of that episode where he drew out the scene he wanted with Baby Yoda in the egg and Mando just standing there, and they do the whole finger thing like Michelangelo. the
Yes.
angels. He bringing that to life, that egg being there, was the egg CGI or practical from the view of from the long shot where we get both of them standing there.
I think that was a practical because they had to build one.
Okay. Well, that because to me it looks CGI on that scene, but when it's close up, when you get Mando and maybe that's just how good it looks. It could be just all practical, like you said. But I thought, at that moment it was CGI until you get the close up of Yoda in the egg.
Yeah.
Uh, but it could be the lighting too. They did a lot of work with lighting.
Yeah. And what do you, how do
Anyway,
you feel? Oh, I'm sorry.
yeah,
Say that
what?
again, sir? What were you saying?
Huh? No, you go. You go ahead.
Now, how do you feel about that, Micah? Setting limitations on what technology can do compared to practical.
I think that's an important thing that we don't want to get away from because when we want to watch, a movie, a TV show, whatever we're watching, in this case, The Mandalorian, I mean, obviously we were like, this isn't real, right?
Yeah.
But you want to believe that maybe it's possible, or you want to believe that what you're watching is authentic. And so having those limitations in place, those restrictions, if you will, makes it just that much more of an authentic experience because the technology, how crazy it is now, is like it's on the CGI. Like there's been CGI that's been developments, just been going off, but now it's come to the point where CGI versus the practical aspect is almost indistinguishable from one another.
Yeah.
And I think
Mhm.
that makes it even more important because the practical application and showing it is like what it takes just simply to do the practical thing and make it more believable. Like even like showing how they had was it the legacy team
Hmm.
and how they were like puppeteering it. It's just like amazing. Like, oh shit, I just assumed that was really good CGI.
Yeah.
How there's a team working the ears, there's a team working the eyes, there's a team working his body movements and everything, and just seeing that how thorough they are with it, it's just I think I'm able to appreciate it more. That it wasn't just simply CGI, and that's not to say CGI would be simple by any stretch of the imagination, but just the clash between the two of them, and also that they're still trying to make a real. I know it sounds weird, but I guess make a real um, person, character, a real like they're actually shooting something real. Uh,
Yes.
you know, I mean, it might be one day, and we kind of talked about this before that, they're bringing back people who've been dead and CGIing them onto other people, but you still need that foundation.
Yeah.
It's like you can't just have all this. You cannot have all the icing on the cake. You still need the cake itself. You still need that foundation to improve upon. So, to bring it back, yeah, I think it allowed me to appreciate it more. And I think it's smart because going forward, who's to say that the bar's right here now, but who's to say it's not even lifted higher, even still with the practical side.
Yeah.
But it just, I don't know. To me, I really appreciate it, and I thought that they did a great job with it, and that they're trying to do a really honest job about it as well.
Yeah.
Because again, yeah, you weren't gonna have a puppet flipping around like Yoda, and um, episode 2, the movie, the Attack of the Clones, I mean, not with him, but like you're not
Mm.
gonna, how are you gonna be able to do that with the puppeteer? And that's not
Yeah.
to say that you can't, but
Yeah.
just imagine how intense that would have been. So just having those two together, one allowing one to do just bringing it back together, I thought it was a good thing, a
Yeah.
good
Absolutely.
symphony between the two of them.
And along the same lines of because we're talking about practicals, scenes, sets, and characters. I really liked. Her name is Misty Rosas. She actually portrayed on screen Quill, uh, who becomes friends with the Mandalorian and helps him out. It was really neat how she had a full prosthetic mask on of Quill and the animatronics of the mouth and the eyes and the forehead and things of that nature. had to coordinate her acting with the animatronics. It might be one guy doing the mouth, another guy doing the facial movements, another guy doing. So there was actually like I think there was 1, 2, 3, her, and then you have ah it who was the voice? Nick Nolte, right? Played the voice of
Yeah.
Quill. So with Nick Nolte, Missy Rosas, and all the animatronics, you're talking about 5 people to bring that character to life practically. And I thought that was amazing. You know what I mean? So I thought it was really cool getting to see her face, because as an actress, you don't get to see her face on screen. But
Yeah.
with this behind the scenes of practicalities of The Mandalorian, it was really nice to hear her talk about, how her and the animatronic group was able to put this together. She even went so far as to say that Nick Nolte did some of the lines 2, 3, maybe sometimes 4 times in a row, uh, just in case there were different nuances of how they filmed it. So I thought that was really neat that everybody came together like that, um, to bring a character to life. I was really saddened. Spoiler if you haven't seen The Mandalorian yet, shame on you if you haven't. But losing that character, towards the end of this series, or not the series, but the of the season, was really sad. You know what I mean? I was
Yeah.
sad to see that character go.
He
It
was a
was a
good
really cool
character.
character. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Clone
Yeah.
him.
So go ahead, Tim.
Yeah. I said clone clone him. That's what I was to say.
Oh, clone him. Put him in a carbonite chamber and revive him. Right.
That's not how it's supposed to work.
Oh my God. And along those lines, they also brought to life. It was actually from a huge maquette, which is pretty much a statue of IG-11, right? So they were just going to use it for lighting references, maybe to put in the background somewhere. But the maquette was so good, and I forgot how they said it, kind of awkward-ish, that they started using it for filming. I thought that was really, really interesting as well. So, to be a true professional, you have to see stuff that other people that are overlooking, right? A lot of people may have overlooked that because they're like, look, we're just using that for lighting. It's a prop. Just put it off to the side. When we need it, we'll bring it out. But the guys on The Mandalorian, and girls, women, are using every aspect that they can, and to bring this world to life in the practical sense as well. But the other thing that really impressed me too was, like, everybody who is interacting with the baby, with the child, was like, after a while, they, like Gina Carano said, they'd come up to it, like if it was filming with the child, they'd go up to the child, oh, there's the baby, how are you doing today, baby? And then all of a sudden they're like, wait, it's not alive. What did you guys think of that? I mean, it's not even real, and the actors and actresses are
Yeah.
responding to it as
It's
though
like,
it's
yeah,
it's a live creature.
what's his name? John Favreau coming into the scene telling her, like, Gina, like, the child kicked your ass acting in that scene. Like, well, like, she's like, yeah, look at him. Like, he's just speaking, like, a bit, like, he's gonna steal the scene. Um, I thought that was funny. And then for the actor for Mandalorian is Pedro Pascal, saying how his character can, um, I don't, what's the word he used? Uh, I'm just thinking of, like, overshadowing. Like, the character is such a big character that it kind of, like, puts everybody else in the background, and that's who you're really paying attention to, not Mandalorian. So I'm
Yeah.
thinking, like, I kind of feel bad for Pedro, like, because he has a helmet on this whole time, and nobody gets to see how great he is. It's just like we're seeing Mandalorian, but we don't get to see Pedro like do
Yeah.
his work. But it's still pretty cool. I've this watching this whole gallery, everybody's getting so much credit. I just wish Pedro would, get more credit for his work. He's what the show's about, but the child is stealing it, man. And then the concept arts.
Yeah.
For sure. I thought those were funny.
Yes. It was also interesting about the baby. I think we're going to be talking about the baby a little bit here, a little bit more, because a big bulk of this episode was about the baby, and that I forgot her name. Is her last name Chow? Is it Deborah Chow?
Yeah.
Deborah
She's
Chow,
one
I
of
think.
the directors. She was talking about how Werner, what's his Werner? Help me out here.
Herzog.
Werner Herzog was interacting with the baby in a scene, and she was like, I think he forgot that it was not alive because he started directing the, okay baby, you need to do this, okay baby, you need to do that. And she was like, so I was directing Werner, and then Werner was directing the baby. And I thought that was just really neat that they made this seem so lifelike, even with puppeteers around the baby, that the actors and actresses and directors were so into it. You know what I mean? I don't know. Maybe you guys know. I'm not too sure. I haven't done the research on it. How much do you think they spent to make this baby? You know what I mean?
Stupid amount of money, probably.
I'm sure. Tim, do you know
I don't know what the
the
figure is on
dollar
that.
figure?
6 zeros, probably.
You think so? At least $1 million?
Oh, at least,
Yeah.
yeah. I mean, probably the money they're gonna get back from the Baby Yoda toilet paper. So
Oh my
that's
god.
why they merchandise because they got to pay for this shit.
Yeah, right. Oh my gosh. Uh, and Werner, I'm just, because I have it playing here, he said, with all these practicals, it's like filming is getting back to, like he said, quote unquote, old school,
Mm.
which I guess gave him a comfort, because he kind of had a little smile on when he said that. You know what I mean? So I think for like some of these, people that have been doing filming for a long time, it's a harkening back to maybe not so much green screen and a feel of more natural environments, and something that is real, that you can act against, not just, okay, there's going to be a big monster there, okay, react to it. You actually see the monster and feel the monster, um, on set right there with you. So maybe that's why this felt. I don't know about you guys, but for me, and maybe because of the mesh of the technology, what we just talked about, and the mesh of the blurring the lines of practicals in their filmmaking, gave this like a real world feel. I don't know if I'm using
Mhm.
that in the right sense. I
Yeah,
don't know. What do you think, Micah?
no, you're right.
Tim?
Yeah, man. I really like you have to. There's certain things that go with that work with if you're gonna go practical that work, and it was a right choice to go practical with Mandalorian and not CGI the whole time. Um, like with Phantom Menace or like the prequels, Yoda being CGI, like you had to because you're gonna have him eventually. He's gonna be fighting. He's gonna be moving around, jumping around, and you can't do that practically. It's not gonna be practical. It's virtually impossible. Maybe it is possible, but it's not gonna. Might not look that good. Uh, and then like you take a movie like Toy Story. Those figures are so small, and to like if you were to try to make those characters practical, the features that they have, it should be probably cost more. It's even harder to get them to move the right way. Like, so
Yeah.
it's better to leave that film as a CGI film, and that works for that kind of setting or story. So I thought it was very cool and magical to see these effects come back in a big way on Mandalorian. And I hope that other, shows, movies, like, I was watching The Dark Crystal, which I love the effects on that too. I love seeing that kind of work happening. Um, I really appreciate that kind of stuff.
So before we end this episode, one more line from Werner Herzog.
Then hit Zog.
Werner
Herzog.
Herzog. He says, the technology becomes invisible, and that's a great thing, which I totally agree. So that was our recap of technology and practical from the Mandalorian Gallery series. Do you guys have anything else to add to that?
I'm interested to see what the next season's new characters have. More practical characters, because they've been taking from like Favreau said, the D list of what we see on the Star Wars films, and bringing those guys to life.
Yeah, absolutely. That's why Quill, being an Ugnaught, was kind of a background character, and they brought him to the forefront. Absolutely. Same thing with IG-88, was a background character in The Empire Strikes Back. And also in the cantina scene, he was part of the bar scene set. Actually, his head was part of the bar set in the cantina scene in A New Hope. So background stuff being brought to the forefront as a main character. So that's a good point, Tim. Who knows who else or what else we might see pop up in Mandalorian season 2. We know we're going to get Ahsoka, right? Played by Rosario Dawson. We're going to get. Okay, I'm not going to say Boba Fett. We're going to get Boba Fett's
armor.
Armor, right?
Yeah.
Who's going to be outfitted with that armor? There's a rumor. I don't know what his name is, but
Timothy
Olyphant. There you go. Yes, I'm not too familiar with him or his work, but I know a lot of people are excited about that. Tamara Morrison is going to be coming out in this as well. Micah's very happy about that, as well as I. I'm sure Tim is as well. We're thinking he might be coming back as Captain Rex in some way, possibly, or maybe even Boba Fett himself.
Isn't he technically Commander Rex now? Just saying.
Well, you know what? You're right. Absolutely. Yeah.
Respect the position.
You got me on that one. Aye. Commander.
It'd be cool, man.
A lot
to see Rex, Ahsoka, and then
oh, well, they're also bringing back shit.
They're bringing back
they're bringing back the shit.
That's what
the girl leading the Death Watch. I can't think of the damn name right now.
Oh, Sabine Wren's. Is it Sabine Wren's
sister?
No,
Satine's younger sister.
Satine's younger sister. I forget her name.
Yeah, I forgot. It was the one in the recent one, Death Watch.
Yeah, the short hair.
Yeah.
It was. Did they confirm that she's gonna be played by Katie Sackhoff?
Yes, I believe so. I can vet that, but I'm almost certain that I saw that on IMDb already. Yeah. So, how are they going to fit all these characters together? That's going to be interesting. How they do that.
Maybe we'll actually get 60-minute episodes.
Oh, do you want to make a wager?
It's more of a hope thing for me, but
yeah.
Wait, 60 minutes or longer than what they were? Average 45.
I think we talked about. We kind of like the 30 minutes right now.
Shut up, Tim.
Micah wants 3-hour episodes.
That's one.
You know, with the extent of the story that they've done, I wouldn't mind an hour long episodes. They've done a fantastic job so far. I would just hope if they were hour-long episodes, we don't get a 5 episode season. You know what I mean? That would kind of be like, but
and also to make sure the episode like it doesn't linger or anything like that either. But it just seems like with everything, kind of like what you mentioned, everything that they're introducing, probably a lot of backstory that they're gonna have to show. I mean,
I want them to bring Bill Burr back. Anyway, keep going.
Yeah, no, his character was pretty cool, right? I mean, he didn't die.
oh, that's right, because he's stuck in the transport. Yeah,
they're stuck in that transfer. They're gonna find a way out some way. You know what I mean?
probably. Yeah.
So,
but let's not forget, Moff Gideon has a dark saber. So, what's gonna happen with that? They got to tell the backstory of how he got that.
yeah, that would be awesome to learn that. You know what I mean? Hopefully they don't do it in a comic book or something like that, and they do it on screen. You know?
Ugh, that would make me sick.
Yeah.
They have to do it on. Well, yeah, I think they have to do it on screen because a lot of people watching the show are just getting into Star Wars, and then they see that and they're like, "What is this? What is that?
Is that a lightsaber?"
They need an explanation.
You know,
what is that?
I like how you chose that type of demographic, Micah, that didn't understand it.
Oh, you know, a lot of people.
Yeah, you know what's so interesting, guys? Very, very interesting that about what y'all are talking about. Okay, so we switched our security system to a different company that we had, better deal and all that, whatever, you know. So the guys that did the installation, most people don't know, but you guys I'm sure know, my notification for text messaging is, you know, Darth Vader, don't make me destroy you, right? So every time I get a text, it's don't make me destroy you. Ironically enough, when my text went off a couple of times when the guys were installing, and one of the guys was like, "What is that? Where's that from?" And I was like, "From Star Wars." He goes, I thought it was from like Dune or something. He's like, "I thought I heard that on Dune." And I was like, "No, it's Darth Vader from Star Wars." He was like, "Oh, okay, that's cool." I started getting bored. I put on The Mandalorian. As soon as the Mandalorian music came on, he goes, "I love that show. That show is so awesome." He's like, "I've watched that series like 2 times already." He goes, now I know that. So we're getting people that are falling in love with Star Wars separately from the theatrical releases and are getting introduced to it, it seems like, through The Mandalorian. So I thought that was neat, very exciting. I haven't really brought that up, but I thought that was really cool to, you know, and also, you know, the games. I think, one of our buddies, Tico, that was on the show, last year or the year before last, he got introduced to Star Wars through Battlefront. Never had watched the movies, never had read any books, played Star Wars Battlefront, and fell in love with it, got interested in the movies, started watching the movies, and the rest is history, you know what I mean? So people are getting introduced to Star Wars all the time, and I think that makes it exciting for them and for people who love Star Wars already, because we get to talk to somebody that's never seen it before, and did you know this? Did you know that? And you know, you get re-excited and re-energized about the story that it encompasses. You know what I mean? So
seeing people, like seeing people watch the videos and seeing it for the first time and being able to share that excitement with them because you know it's going to happen and that they're invested with it. Yeah. Like, well, there's one I know for Rogue One where she's all freaking out and Vader ignites a saber in the hallway. She's like,
like what? No.
Yeah, and then when she sees Leia at the very end, she goes, "Oh my God, that
Yeah.
You know, making those connections. Yeah, you're 100% right. It's really great that some of these things that are branched out, I guess, if you will, you know, are really turning people on, you know, to what most of us fell in love with, you know, so long ago,
Yeah.
and just making the family bigger.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, with that, why don't we George Lucas just recently had a birthday. So why don't we thank George Lucas for creating Star Wars, giving us an opportunity to talk about one of our favorite, or if not our favorite, franchise out there to talk about. That's why we created this podcast and are going strong with 70 episodes now. Um, so who wants to wrap it up today?
Yeah.
Wow. So I think it's
Yep.
Micah's turn.
Actually, I did it last week, and considering
Oh,
you're a faceless ghost, it's your
Lewis.
responsibility.
if I wrap it up today, Tim, you wrap it up next time.
And the
I
time.
will wrap it up next time.
Okay, so I'll wrap it up.
What a wiener.
Well, we'd like to thank everybody who listens to us, comments, does sticker swaps with us. What's really awesome about the sticker swaps, we've asked people to fill Tim's mail slot, and that sucker's just getting jam packed full of stuff in Tim's mail slot. And so we appreciate that. So we will reciprocate with some stickers and some magnets from the podcast and some artwork as well.
The
If you want to
pressure's
sticker,
on, Timmy.
yes, if you want to sticker swap with the Force Choke podcast, we highly urge you to do. And if so, we'll put you up on our banner that we use at our events and events around town.
Wall of
And
shame. I mean, fame. The wall of
oh
fame.
gosh. And we've been to the Corpus Christi Comic Con as well. So wherever we go, we usually take our banner with us. So you'll be up there. We want to thank Big T and Little T podcast, Random Tapeworm for sending us out stickers, the most recent. We also want to thank Brian Snuffer for we won a piece of his artwork. So we should be getting that, I believe, if not tomorrow, which is Saturday, probably the beginning of next week. So thank you, Brian, for that. We do appreciate it. We also want to thank the Corpus Christi Cotton Candy Company. We'll, as soon as we get any word about some kind of discount code, we'll get that out. We'll either go live or we'll post something. But I highly urge you guys to try it. If you like cotton candy, go give them a shot. They have it's almost like a treasure trove of flavors, kind of like when you go to a snow cone shop and you see like a wall of all these flavors. Well, they have a wall of cotton candy flavors as well. So give them a check out their website and their Instagram, Facebook, and all that, and get you some cotton candy. But for everybody here at the Force Choke podcast, down here with the TO, we have
Tim.
Timmy.
and over here we got
Micah.
all right, and I'm Lewis, and we thank you for watching episode 70 of the Force Choke podcast. Don't forget to share, like, follow, subscribe on Instagram, Facebook, Twitter, anywhere you can find podcasts, including Spreaker, iHeartRadio, and the like. So we just want to say thank you for interacting with us, watching us, listening to us. We'll see you next episode. Bye.
Later.